Well, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marsha T. I'm a professional makeup artist based in Chicago, and I'm also a Sephora employee. Today we're doing this ETH glittery glam, and for that I'm starting with the skin prep. I'm using the Road Glazing Milk. I'm going to be pairing two toners together. The Road Glazing Milk is great, but if you feel like, hey, I want to try this in person, you can go in with the second toner that I'm trying here. That is by Ranavat, however you want to call it. Their saffron essence is beautiful. It gives you the same look as the Road Glazing Milk in case if you feel like, hey, I want to buy something in store. Toners are a great way to prep your skin and layering them even better. Just remember, you can always target two things in two different toners or essence, that is brightening and hydration. The third thing that we're going in with is the Kosas Plumping Serum in a spray bottle. I feel like this instantly makes your skin appear plump and hydrated and dewy. It is also great to go on top of makeup. I didn't do that because I'm trying out a very special and a new setting spray. Now you can instantly see the plumpness that we were talking about. The next item is the iconic London blurring drops. I do see a huge difference when I use this all over my face. However, this time we're just going with a tiny amount in the T-zone area where the large pores are naturally for everybody. Just use it in the areas where you feel like, you know what, I want to hide the texture. And then again, if you feel like your skin is very dehydrated, you can skip the iconic London blurring drops and go in with the Refi Blur and Hydrate Primer instead. What I don't know is how to pronounce this brand. That is either Refi, I don't know. Now we're gonna start with the eyes, not the complexion. Let's go with the brows. I'm using this Anastasia tinted brow gel. Now this thing has saved so much time for me. I used to like sit and spend 10 minutes, and now I just take 2 minutes to do my brows, and it gives the appearance of gelled back eyebrows but at the same time filled, just by using one product. You can judge by my expression that I think I impressed you guys with the brows. If I did, leave a comment in the comment section. We're going straight ahead with the eye prep. I'm using the Urban Decay primer. I'm not gonna lie, I did see some pilling. I think it could be just because this is pretty old. Normally people will go in with a brush. I like to blend my eyeshadow primers with a sponge instead, because I do believe if I'm going in with the extra amount of eyeshadow primer, it soaks up the extraness. I normally don't cave into trends, but this time I did. This palette is beautiful. I have used this multiple times on my clients, and this time I was like, you know what, I need to bring this home. The first two shades that we're using to kind of create our crease is called High Life and Unapologetic. I like to mix both just because High Life is a little too peach and Unapologetic is a little too red tone, so I like to mix both. The only trick you guys can try for yourself is using a very fluffy brush to lay your base layer of eyeshadow. So for me, it's that middle brush that starts the eyeshadow range and ends at powder. I don't know if that makes sense. It's like, you know, the last few brushes in your face, complexion powder brushes, and then starts your eyeshadow brush range. That middle one is what I'm going to use to lay the first few shades. Remember, you want to use pat and then windshield wiper motion on your eyes. Sounds crazy, I know, but that's the only way we can make doing eyeshadow simple. Now that we're done layering our first two shadows, you're going to go in with the second round of it. This time, just going right below where we layered our first eyeshadow or eyeshadows. We're going in with the shade Unapologetic and Faux Fur to deepen the crease that we have already made. This time around, you want to switch up your brush. Go in with a dense, pointy eyeshadow brush that can help you blend the overall look. And then just keep that brush that you used the first time around. When you are done blending the two shades, when it looks seamless, it looks dimensional, that's when you will go back with the fluffy brush and use that on the top part where the first shadow is still visible, so you can seamlessly blend the two shadows into each other. Now we're going in with the shade called First Class. This will be our last shade out, I believe so. And then what you're gonna do is create this wash of pale tone on your eyelid and do it till the middle, from the inner corner to the middle of the eye, blending into the dimension we have already created. What this will do, it's not going to appear as sharp as using a bone color or a white eyeshadow to open up the eyes, if that makes any sense. I kind of forgot to show you guys what I'm doing here. That is, I picked up a detail brush, the same one that we used to lay that pale shadow on our lid. I'm taking the shade called Faux Fur that we initially used by mixing Unapologetic. I picked that up and I'm layering that in the area where you see the pale shade stops and the dimension begins, just so that they blend into each other seamlessly like a gradient effect. Here's the fun part. We're going to use the new Urban Decay 24/7 liquid eyeshadow in Sugar Twist. I'm not gonna lie, the shadow is a little too pink, but it's one of the most beautiful gold peach pink reflect eyeshadow that you can find, that you can use this spring. So for the eyeshadow, I built it in 2 layers just because I feel like if I put too much, it's going to settle into my fine lines and I do not want that look. We're using the Urban Decay Moon Dust and Cosmic just to add the silver reflex because our liquid eyeshadow didn't have that. Don't worry about this next step. We're using the Huda Kohl in the brown color. We're just going to use that closer to our waterline just to add that dimension. And using the same fine brush we used before, the detail one, we're just going to blend this out. So don't worry if it gets messy. Now the reason why I say don't worry is because my looks consist of using a cotton swab or a wipe on the edge of my eye and just like creating this reverse wing look. What that does, it gives the eyeshadow this crisp look, and also you use the same thing to take any excess fallout off, or if you see any fallout on the cheek area. I hope the day never comes when Anastasia decides to discontinue this eyeliner, because seriously, what did they put in here? The color, the brown tone, the consistency of it, and the longevity of it is beautiful. The only thing that came in between my eyeliner application were my lashes that I did long before I started this makeup tutorial, so excuse my application, but I did clean that up. Now my favorite mascara on this earth is this Charlotte Tilbury Exaggerate. If I did not have my lashes, I would definitely put this on. Now we're going in with the Complexion products, where I'm starting out with the Milk Hydro Grip tint, the new one. Now, if you see later in the video that it washed me out, it's because this certain tint is a little too light for me and shade number 5 is a little too dark for me, so just bear with me. I honestly enjoy applying this tint with my fingers or just like using a brush, but for this time, for just the video's sake, I pulled out a sponge, so if you're comfortable doing the same, like using your fingers or a brush, you can do that because this goes beautifully if you warm it up with your fingers. For concealer, we're using the Huda Beauty Full Filter just because this is a foolproof concealer and full coverage concealer, and we do not want to mess up unaided. We do not want to have creased under eyes, and this is that safest option in my entire collection of concealers. I'm also using this Say Duo brush just because it's beautiful. It blends concealer beautifully, and also the foundation side is beautiful to lay any complexion product. I like to go in with a sponge like right after I have used a brush for concealer, just because if the concealer is full coverage, it soaks up any excess product on my face. For powder, we're going in with the Huda Beauty Easy Bake, cult favorite, everyone knows. I like the shade Cupcake, but today we're going in with the shade Cherry Blossom Cake for the brightness effect. I went ahead with the brush that we used earlier for our concealer, just because you don't want to have any creases before you lay that powder. Again, the powder is very matte, so make sure you don't have any creases. Use any type of applicator. I like to use a velour puff, and that's exactly what I'm using here. It is going to wash you out a little. It washed me out too, but wait until we apply the blush and everything else on the face, and you'll see how this powder takes any darkness away and just lifts the overall appearance. If you have dry under eyes, this is your second option. You can go in with this Hourglass Pressed Translucent Powder. I like to use it as well just because sometimes when it's cold outside and I do not like my skin feeling very tight, I like to go in with the pressed powder instead. Now as for the cheek application, we're going in with this Makeup by Mario bronzing serum. I like to use this and then blend it with my sponge so it soaks up the excess, but I also like to layer this with the skin enhancer. So if I'm using the shade light medium here, my skin enhancer is in the shade medium, just to add that warmth back to the face. I'm using the Makeup by Mario F4 brush for this application. I do understand the hype around this brush now that I've used it. I haven't used this for complexion yet, as in the base application, but I'm using it for cheek and I think I quite like it. But if you just want to use one, you can just go with a shade higher up and either the skin enhancer or the bronzing serum. Now we're going in with the blush. We're using the new Huda Beauty blush filter in the shade Sunset Lychee or Lychee. However you guys call it, I'm not going to judge. It's like the perfect hybrid between strawberry pink and then just like a coral color for, you know, those people who don't necessarily enjoy cool tone pinks, but neither do you guys enjoy orange tones on yourself. Just because the blush is a little pigmented, I'm building the layers again. We're going with a second layer just to build the intensity of it. This is that one item I was the most excited to try, and the second I saw it, I grabbed it. I didn't even think. I do believe it's priced very high for the amount you're getting, but the texture is so unique, the colors are so unique that you almost ignore that. I went with the color Pink Opal, and I like to use this as a blush topper instead. The trick to using these is that you build them in layers. Again, don't swipe on the skin. If you feel like I've built the tacky base already by tapping the product, you may go ahead and swipe on top of that layer that you've already built, but again, work in layers with this specific product at least. Now it may look strange where your blush starts and where your concealer is. I'm just going ahead and taking the shine away around the front part of my cheek, and I'm going to top this off with this MAC Extra Dimension blush in the shade Petal Power. Once that's done, I'm going to fix my under eyes, so don't worry. Always do this in the last few bits just because if you want to take some shine away, you can still do that. For the lip combo of the day, we're using the Makeup by Mario lip liner in the shade Smoky Pink. The lip liner is a beautiful pink that gives you the contoured lip effect without looking too cool toned, too contoured. I think I'll always be the liquid lipstick girly and I'll always recommend them, and this is one of my favorite shades. It's called Sweet Talker from Huda Beauty. It's like the perfect cool tone pink, and I do believe it complements the blush beautifully. To finish off this look, we're using the new Huda Beauty setting spray, and safe to say this spray made my makeup last for so long. I just recommend that you guys should try this out yourself before you believe anybody on social media. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial, and if you do try it out, let me know. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon.